Change starts with a decision. No more excuses. It don't have to make sense to nobody else but you and God. Everything that makes you you is why you're so important. Your strengths are the keys to the doors that, guess what? Only you were meant to open. We're going to use this 30 minutes to get some stuff done. We're not wasting no more time. There's so many things to do, accomplish, and to grow and build. You don't have to do everything on your own. Join us every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Standard Time. We are not moving forward to this next level in doubt or confusion. This is not it. This is Penny Owens, founder of Penny Owens LLC, a leadership empowerment consultancy where we are on a mission to empower professionals, small business owners, and corporate teams to live and lead in their authentic purpose, starting with the hearts of leaders and expanding to their teams, environments, and the communities that they influence. Hello, hello, hello. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me okay because we are another day side in the moon. It is a beautiful day. I'm down here at St. Philip's College and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. So let me get this together now. Today is Intentional Tuesday. This is y'all Penny Owens. I'm letting you guys know that my allergies are messing with me. And I've had so much fun this past weekend. This weekend was amazing. So I did a lot of talking and giggling and just really expressing myself. But I am here to talk to you guys about two things that's just on my mind. And I think that it is really important for each and every single one of us to understand where we are in our individual lives. As adults, we think that we don't have any, childish residuals. We think that I'm grown. If I hear that one more time, I'm grown and I got my life together. I'm not functioning in a space where I'm trying to impress someone or I'm still constantly trying to express myself. And that's not necessarily true. You have to make sure that at every single portion of your life, at all ages, you do a reset and a reflection. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? You want to know exactly where you are and what it is that you're doing, especially as a leader. My San Antonio leaders, to make sure that you check yourself because we have some serious work to do ahead of us. And you want to make sure that you are not only in the correct mindset, but you want to make sure that you are in the correct emotional place of intelligence. You want to know exactly who you are right now in your life so that you can make sure that you don't bring any extra biases or some unhealed areas over. And you're trying to teach these people, you're trying to uplift them up. You want to make sure that you are living by example. So the two things that are just really on my mind right now, are you coming from a place of trying to impress others? Now, of course, when you are a business owner, okay, when you are a leadership, when you are running a team, yes, it's important the way that you express yourself, the way that other people see you, and do they approve? I get it. But is that your motive? Yeah, I asked you, is that your motive? Are you purposely working hard to impress others? And is that the only motive? Sometimes we get caught up in this game, and that's exactly what happens. Or are you the other extreme where you are trying to express yourself? People don't see you, they don't pay attention the way that you need them to. So your motive is trying to express yourself to others in the fashion that may not be balanced. So those are the areas that I want to make sure that you guys take this time to really, really, truly be honest with yourself. What is it that I'm doing? What area am I coming from? So I want to ask you, because like I said, especially to my fellow leaders of San Antonio, how you show up publicly, it matters. In a relationship driven by like how strong your business is, okay? Whether it's military, whether it's faith related, whether it's community networks, you want to make sure that you know the difference between impressing others or expressing yourself. Okay, because knowing the two differences, knowing what one is, what it isn't, where it starts to blend together, can significantly change your reputation. Okay, and it changes the way that you influence your team, and the way that you influence your volunteers, the way you influence the community. The balance, it's very important to have everything. So like I said, you can't help but to kind of function from one to the other, just as humans alone. We're just built that way. We really are just built that way. But you can make sure that it is balanced. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that I push this back in my ear. But I want to make sure that you understand the pros and cons from both areas, and then reflect on it. Ask yourself, where am I in this particular journey, so that you can make sure that you know where you stand and if there's anything that you need to forward for. Just because, like I said, we got to make sure that we are healthy in every single area with the jobs that we have and the people that we are trying to impact. Okay, like this period. So when you're trying to impress others, other people, and this includes family, this includes friends, this includes professionals. Like, let's be honest with ourselves all the way through. Some of the pros when you are trying to impress others is that you build quick credibility, right? In the competitive spaces, especially when it comes to like just all the realms of working, all the realms of working. When you are trying to impress others, you present a strong presentation. Like you make sure that you come correct. You make sure that you are very visible about the things that you have collected, the data, the recognition that you've had throughout the years. You keep it in the forefront. You make sure that your wins are visible. Okay, I can dig it. I see you. You're doing a really good job. Now, when you do that, when you present yourself, where the things that you've accomplished are very visible, people, they see you. Okay, because you make sure you did the work, you make sure that it was presented properly, and they see you. And that opens doors. That's just the truth. I mean, regardless of whatever your motives are, it works. And when the doors open, you're making sure that you have a very strategic way of impression, like you're managing it well. Go ahead with your bad self because technically, like I said, it works. It works when it comes to networking. It works when you're dealing with different city events and city leaders. They are, I'm just going to say it, they're too busy. I'm not going to say they lazy, they're too busy. It may be a little bit of the latter, but they're not going to necessarily do a bunch of research on you. If you want their impression, then you have to make sure that you are seen. You have to make sure that you are visible. And that's your whole resume. Make sure that your resume is visible and easy to attain because they're not going to do a lot of deep diving. They're too busy. And I'm sure as a leader, you know that. Isn't your life busy? Do you have time to do background checks on every single person that you meet? No. But the ones who make it apparent, that make it easy, yes, they stay out in their mind, and you make sure that you see them because they made themselves easily seen. So it works. Another thing is it shows that you're competent. It shows that you're confident. If you're not hiding and you are ready to impress, they see that. It gravitates towards you. It makes them want to see who you are. What is it that you can do and how can they be a part of that? That part is exactly what you want in business. That's what you want as a leader. You want to make sure that the way that you present yourself shows confidence and that it shows you that you are competent and fully capable of what it is that you know how to do, whatever that looks like for you. Those talents inside of you, those are yours. So you make sure that you highlight them to the fullness of your capability, whether it's digitally, whether it's in person, whether it's through the conversation, through your events, through your talents, through your apparel, your accessories. You make sure that you show up correctly, that you show people exactly who you are, regardless. You show them who you are and what is it that you have to bring to the table. Because without you being the number one cheerleader in your life, they don't know. Don't make them work hard for them. Don't make them ask for receipts. Just bring them with you. And also, this puts you in alignment with the expectations. there's a high expectation if you're going to be in the forefront. If people are going to be looking at you, you need to give them something to look at. So when you put yourself out there full of impressions, like I want to make sure that you guys see me, make sure that's what you get done. Make sure that when you step into the front, make sure they never forget you. Make sure that everything about you stands, whether it is your smile, your voice, your clothing, your product, you make sure that what it is that you do is not forgettable at all. You make the best of the moment. You get fully into alignment with what it is that you wanted to do, be seen and impressed in folks. So get her done. Now, on the flip side of things, and I'm telling you, on the opposite side of things, because like I said, everything needs to have a balance. When you do it, depending on how you're showing up, you may not be in alignment with who you are. Some of us, we put on masks towards all the different areas and realms of ministry that we are presented in. When you go to work, you're one way. When you're home with the family, you're another way. When you're in the streets with your neighbors, you're another way. When you are with the youth, you're one way. When you're with women, you're one way. When you're with them, you're one way. A lot of times we're not consistent with how it is that we present ourselves. That presents a huge problem. So you want to make sure that the way you're showing up and who you're trying to impress are in alignment with who you are for your greater good. Because if you're trying to impress people that are not good for you, then now you don't put on this whole mask. Now you don't step out the gate in your best suit for folks who don't need to have you, who have not need to have access to you. People who are going to bring you down, not uplift you, or maybe be your obstacle. Yes, that's why you want to make sure that the people that's around you, the people you're trying to impress, please make sure that these are the ones you're supposed to be standing in front of. Because if it's not, then let them go and move to the left, step to the side, because you don't need anything extra. Aren't you busy enough? You don't need any extra haters, because I'm sure you got plenty, and you don't need extra obstacles. Life is already busy and it's getting more increasingly difficult. So make sure that you trim the fat early on. So make sure, like I said, that you are very, very careful with how you show up, because you might present yourself as not necessarily an imposter. And a lot of us have that, especially when you're new to business or whatever realm that you're in, but just inauthentically. Make sure that where you are is for you and be you all the way through. Now, another thing, when you are trying to impress people, it creates pressure. It creates a lot of pressure. And it's because you're on someone else's time. When you are dealing with other people, you have their biases, you have their desires, you have their time frame, you have their baggage, you have their obligations and responsibilities. When you're trying to impress other people, especially when it's in a professional realm, you're dealing with people who are very, very busy, very, very focused on their missions and the things that are driving them. And they want you to show up on their time. That's just, it comes with the profession. It comes with being a leader. You are dealing with so many other people that you automatically end up dealing with everything of those people. And if you don't know how to balance it, and if you don't have boundaries set, you can get overwhelmed and it will bring a lot of pressure. So you have to know exactly what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it, because like I said, that pressure is on. You don't want to crumble under pressure. You want to make sure that you bend and mold under pressure, and with God, everything is possible. I promise you that. Now, another thing is that sometimes, like I said, with the first one, because you're not necessarily in alignment with who you are and what it is that you're supposed to do, you indirectly end up building relationships with people that you shouldn't be connected to. And it doesn't matter. They can be powerful, they can be very influential, but if they're not for you, they're not for your good. Now you have spent so much time and investments in people you're not supposed to be connected to. So be very wary of that. And then make sure that when you are, if you're trying to impress maybe the wrong crowd, it makes you vulnerable and it creates a limit. How does it create limits? It creates limits because, like I said, this is an audience that may or may not be for you. The ones that are for you are open, they are receptive, they see you and they're excited and they're welcome. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it because you're a big dog. I trust you. You got the Lord on your side. You can do plenty of things in hard places. And believe me, so some things can show it one way. That does not mean that that's exactly what it is. It can be a negative space on it from the visual, from the front door. But God is with you and you have his favor. You can walk through and create amazing things in that realm. You can change lives in that realm. You can still reach people in that space that looked negative. So don't get it twisted what I'm saying. That if that space seems negative, that you're not supposed to be there. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying know what it is. Understand how you're supposed to move and function. And if you're supposed to impress people, just understand the truth of what you're dealing with so that you can see what the limits are. Just see what they are in that space. Because regardless of where you are, times are not always going to be positive. They're not always going to be smooth. Okay. And you know this. They're not going to always be that way. So you need to know what you're stepping into, what is your environment, and how is it that you need to present yourself. Exactly. Okay. Now, the pros of trying to express yourself, even when you say express yourself, when you just say the words, doesn't make you feel just a little semi emotional. Expression is one of those things that we've been trying to do our whole lives. You want to be seen. And as an adult, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't change. You want to be seen. As a leader, you want to be seen. You're in front of the group. You're trying to be heard and understood. You got things to do. You have things to delegate. You have things to lead. So it's just one of those expressions that you can do it in an unhealthy space, or you can use it to the best of your capability when it comes to expressing yourself. The truth of it is you have to know who you are first. And I mean on a cellular level, not just with your title, not just with your status. You have to know who you are in God's eye on a cellular, spiritual level. Because then you want to truly show up as your best self. And believe me, even if you don't quite know exactly how to express yourself, they can't help but see you when you come from that space. And when you come from that space of just, I'm just trying to be seen. I really don't have a motive, but I really want to just express who I am. You are being completely authentic and you are building trust, a deeper trust when you're dealing with people because they can see you. Look how confident they move. Like there's no questions, there's no doubt. They see how confident you are. And that makes them want to be just as confident. That makes them want to be curious about how did you do that? This world is in peril. This world is confusing and it's difficult. How is it that you're smiling so hard? How is it that you can move and stomp so hard and make everyone in the room shake, but at the same time stomp so lightly where we didn't even see you coming? How is it that you move the way that you move right now and you seem authentically consistent every time I see you? Every time I see you, you're the same person. How is it that you're able to express yourself that way? That's what people are thinking when they see you all the time, when you're in that way. And since you're doing it authentically and that's the way you're living your life, you can teach them. You can let them know, well, this is how I did it. I did it through prayer. I did it through having quiet time early in the morning. I start my day first for myself and with the Lord. You can let them know. I make sure I sit down and I make sure I understand who I am. Every morning before I give the world myself and my time, I do it for me. I make sure that I show up for me before I share myself with anyone else. Go ahead and teach them. Let them know. And I'm letting you know that not only if you are your authentic self all the time, you're just showing up being yourself, you can just be exactly who God created you to be. You attract and align with the most beautiful people because they're your people, because they're the ones who see you, who can relate to you, who want to understand more about you. They're curious. It's an easier environment. You don't have to worry about meshing well with other people when you are the truth because you don't deal with anything. This is not a game. You're not performing, you're showing up. And that is different. That expression comes natural because you didn't create an obstacle. This makes you a more suitable leader. because we want to follow somebody who is doing this. We want to follow someone who knows who they are. How can you teach me who I am if you don't know who you are? So believe me, if you're doing this, I'm glad that you're leading people. I'm glad that they're following you. And it makes people want to be more innovative. It makes us want to be more creative. They use this expression, such as the example that you have shown, or the example that you're about to show. It makes them be creative inside themselves. Start reaching to the bag of their life and their history and reflect and be like, I remember this. I want to bring this back to the forefront. Why did I put this down? I remember what kind of joy and thoughts that it brings. Let me bring this up and show this in my life. You start expressing yourself in a more creative way because you're open. You've let go of all the limitations. You've removed the limitations that we have been conditioned and have just been taught our whole lives that we need. So you take them off and you enjoy the rest of that freedom that it presents. Now, the negative side of expressing yourself, like I said, it's still emotional. Don't get it twisted. It is still an emotional thing to even have that need, to be addressed in that need of I need to be seen and I need to express something. I need to be heard. Whatever your expression is, whether it's art, whether it's through your products, whether it's through your voice, whether it's through your presence, if it's sitting on you and you have this angering, that it needs to be seen. Now that can, because you're dealing with something with emotion. And remember, we're not supposed to function in emotion. They are real, they are raw, and you have them, they're not going. But if you are functioning and making decisions in this emotional state, then the expression of yourself, it risks being misinterpreted because people tend to feel the uneasiness. They feel the inconsistency. They see them, they identify them quickly. If you're one extreme and then not so much the other, your speech is different, your movements are different. People see that. And because you're a leader, they're looking dead at you. They're looking dead at you. So you want to make sure that you do stay on top of the emotional aspects of expressing yourself. Because like I said, they bleed through. Your poker face is not that strong. It bleeds through. People see it, but you want to make sure that what you're expressing is clear. Okay. They're watching you, they are mimicking you, you are teaching them. So you want to make sure that others don't mimic something that's unhealthy or imbalanced just because you was in the mood. Because you was in the mood. Okay. Now, when you are in that, like I said, the emotional part of expressing yourself, it kind of slows down how well people accept you. And like I said, that's because they can feel that. People can feel that you may not be so sure, that you may not be as confident as you have presented yourself, that you are trying too hard. And that tends to raise red flags with people. They tend to be more cautious. I'm sure you do it when you see people that's just doing too much. Make sure that you see them. Like, ta-da, look at me, look at me. They call you all the time. They try to hit you up. They always jumping in the conversation, even if you didn't invite them. Like, you know what it is. I'm sure you're guilty of doing that. So you want to make sure that that's not you. You want to make sure that that's not you. Because like I said, it just raises the flag, even though you have something very, very genuine and special and a substance and value that you are bringing to the table, the emotions make it a little cloudy. And people can't necessarily see those things. You know, like I said, if they're being cautious, you might get a little bit extra nosy just because I don't know. I'm not quite sure how you're trying to present yourself. I'm not sure what it is that you are trying to bring to the table because they can't quite tell. Are you expressing yourself because you want us to see you, or are you expressing yourself in a creative way that you want others to take on, that it's intentional, that you are trying to create something new and you want to be like an influence? What is it that you're doing exactly? Is this an act or is it genuine? Because that is the two things that before you do business, before you say yes to a relationship, that's what you're kind of asking yourself. So believe me, that's what they're asking themselves too. Is it genuine or is this an act? So you need to be careful how you present yourself. 'Cause like I said, publicly, especially in this day and age, they looking really, really close to us. We have to understand that that was the whole point of you being in front. That's why God presented you as a leader. That's why you're not in the back. That's why you are not following. They're supposed to see you. They're supposed to be watching you closely and in more details. So you have to be mindful of how you're presenting yourself and why you're doing it. Now, one of the leaders, much bigger than what my ears are. And you know what? I didn't think about hopefully touching this is not messing with the microphone. I'm new to that. I don't know. Okay. But the most effective leaders, they don't choose whether or not they're going to be like one over the other. Am I going to be impressing people today or am I going to be expressing myself? They understand that you need both. It's duality, it's balance, regardless. Because, like I said, this is human nature. This is not a process. It's not something that you could just turn on and off. It's human nature is going with you regardless. So you have to be able to balance. Now, you want to make sure that you lead in your authentic expression of yourself. I am who I am. I am who I was created to be. I am exactly how God sees me. Therefore, I see myself in this way all the time, in every realm, in everything that you do, whether it be at home or outside, whether it's in the or on stage. Be yourself and be consistent and communicate what that excellence is because you have accomplished something that so many spend their whole life trying to do. People spend their whole lives trying to figure out who they are, their whole life trying to figure out who am I? What is my purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to do? And how is it that I'm supposed to be doing? So if you got it, you got it. Congratulations. You got it. So make sure that you communicate that with others. Please, especially if it's in a healthy place that you've used God through the process, share that knowledge, share your testimony, and let them understand. Well, this is what I did. This is what I went through, and this is how difficult it was. This is how long it took, and I am still working on it. Be honest about it because it is. It's a difficult journey, but it is attainable. It's attainable. Man, in this city, especially the city of San Antonio, I mean, like, there's so much. There's so much that is happening here. There's so much going on. And we all just need to be prepared. You need to be genuinely prepared. And leaders and individuals that people are following. Okay. People are I'm trying to keep other students in the way that people really need this right now. They genuinely really need this right now. So you want to make sure that you get that healthy work done. Okay. And in these cities where relationships, reputation are deeply interwoven. I mean, really, we tied in. You talk about long-term influence will always depend on less on how flashy you are. They don't care anymore. Like we've known each other for a long time. It's more about consistency. It's more about integrity, contribution, and it's more about cultural awareness. Like there's so many cultures in there's so many cultures and just people all over this planet. Teach yourself. Like be educated. It's technology. We have too much technology to be of ignorance in any area. So do some research and learn about the cultures around you, especially in your neighborhood and your community. It's very important. Make sure that you are very respectful of these people. You don't want to be a distraction, an obstacle, or disrespectful. Like don't do that. So make sure that you educate yourself. And then ask yourself right now. I could have sworn. I see a call coming through on my phone. I could have sworn I turned do not deter. thing 4 times. Everybody who knows, folks that have rang through your phone 1,000 times, you already know they was aggressive with it. Let me get this off. They was trying to make sure that you seen them. Like I said, to make sure that you are in a healthy space when it comes to impressing yourself, being impressing others, or expressing yourself. Ask yourself this, okay? Got some homework. We got some homework. Are you currently more concerned with being respected or being understood? 'Cause like I said, you need both of them. You're going to have both of them, but just know your status. Are you currently more concerned with being respected or being understood? Okay, let's see where that's going from. And then when you answer that question, the way that you answer, whatever you get, that's going to tell you which direction that you need more strengthening in at this moment. Okay, this is going to be like that inner work that you have to work out. What's going on in your life right now? Why do you feel that way? And what is happening? Who's the source? What environment is the source? What memory is the source? What past situation is the source? You need to figure out, why is that relevant in your life right now? So again, are you currently more concerned about being respected or being understood? Okay. Because if you like, I'm telling you, tell me which which area in your life, like you can put this in the chat, which area of your life do you feel is causing more of one or the other? And I ain't gonna tell nobody. I mean, they'll be able to see it, but I ain't gonna tell nobody. Is there areas in your life that you feel like I need more respect? And are there other areas where you feel like I need to be more understood? Either way, in these different areas, you can specifically find out which environments that you need to work on, not just yourself, but the environments, your inner circles, the work that you're working on right now, the projects that you're taking on right now. Like I said, this is a duality deal. Okay, dual credit is twofold. So make sure that you are very, very clear about what it is so that you can get this set and get this straight for not just yourself, but for us who's watching, who's learning, and we need you. So make sure that you show up and that you are intentional about what it is that you are performing in, what it is that you are working through, and what it is that you are teaching. And make sure it comes from a very healthy and spiritually balanced place. I appreciate you being here and showing up. I thank you for being with me with this Intentional Tuesdays. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.